Hello everybody and welcome back to NCAA 2005, and we are kicking things off year number 6 with the Idaho Vandals against the Syracuse Orange. Now, I had spoken with the viewer, we had worked this out here about maybe doing a home and away situation with Syracuse, and we were going to start with Syracuse on the road. Unfortunately, I scheduled a lot of road games this year, but we are going to go to Syracuse and play the Orange. In the next season, we're going to try and host Syracuse in Moscow. But we have a disciplinary action here. Unfortunately, Keith Bridges is not really paying much attention to his schoolwork, so he's going to be suspended for a little bit here. The game automatically wanted me to suspend it for 2 games, but we cannot afford to not have Keith Bridges on the field, so I lowered it down to just a quarter, and I'm not fully understanding how the pointage works, the disciplinary points. It said we have more points left over if we didn't suspend him for games, so I only suspended him for a quarter, so I guess maybe it's a trend. If you don't suspend him for longer, he won't learn and he'll just keep doing it. I don't know, but either way, we're not going to be with Keith Bridges for the first quarter of play. So we're here in the Carrier Dome in Syracuse making do anyway, and Syracuse is coming off of a 7-5 campaign last season. They went 2-4 in conference, so really, really tough year for them in conference, which kind of torpedoed their season, which otherwise started off pretty well. They finished 52 in recruiting, so they did worse than we did, but they're still on brand here. Looking at the roster, it's a little bit worse off. They have some key positions that are young and are under that 80 overall threshold, so but they're working on it. They're slowly getting there. They did beat Cal, who ended up, or not Cal, they ended up beating Stanford, who finished 7-5 in our own conference. They ended up beating Stanford in the Insight Bowl. So they are coming off a bowl victory despite their terrible conference year. And we are, of course, coming off a bowl loss. So we're looking to start things off correctly here against the Syracuse Orange here in Syracuse, New York, in the Carrier Dome. So one of my favorite domes, one of the last remaining domes. I think they did fix the roof. I don't think it's inflated anymore. I think it's an actual roof now, but either way, it's still there. It still exists. So Syracuse around midfield here at 3rd and 10, and it's their quarterback Randall Francis who's going to float this one up here. And he's going to find Cedric Huff, the Big East All-American receiver, who's able to haul that one in here for a huge first down to keep Syracuse's drive alive, keep it moving on the ground. So a nice little, just completely threw off Claude Orr. Claude Orr had no idea where he was, completely threw him off. So cut to another 3rd and 9, though, as our defense showing a little bit of resilience early on here. Randall Francis has to get rid of that one quickly off of his back foot. Kind of a terrible pass, as that one just safely lands into the turf. And now Syracuse is going to have to figure something out here on 4th down, bringing up their kicker for a 43-yarder, and the kick is up, and it is good. Pretty safe kick, safe nailed kick. And so Syracuse is going to take a 3-0 lead here at home to open their, well, actually, they've already lost a game. They lost to Penn State last week, so it's opening our season, but it's their home opener, I guess, for Syracuse. And already Matt Norwood is making things tough for Syracuse's defense as he floats this one up to Conrad McNeil, who stumbles off of a tackle here and gets a few more yards. So we haven't seen a whole lot of dazzling passes from Matt Norwood, but there's a good one to start the year. So cut to a 1st and 10 now. Norwood's going to keep it himself, and this is what we're used to him doing. This is exactly what we know him to do, as he gets a first down and a heck of a lot more, getting brought down just inside the 15 of Syracuse. And now we have ourselves a prime scoring opportunity. As Norwood, we love what he can do with his legs. However, it did get him hurt last year, so we have to be cautious of just how much he is running the football and his durability throughout this season. That is going to be a concern. So fake the pitch here. Norwood taking one to the end zone. It's tipped and it's going to be caught. And I believe that's the freshman, one of our new receivers on the team here. We have to look around, but it is one of our new receivers that we have on the roster. So can you guys believe it? We got some new faces around the bend here. We got some new ones. So cut to a 1st and 10 here. Again, we're on offense, and now it's going to be Marcus Donnelly, the backup running back, who's going to get a little bit of work here, of course, because Keith Bridges is out for the first quarter. Really just only the first quarter. That's about it. But otherwise, everything's going to be okay. So last play of the first quarter here. It's a 3rd and 10. Norwood drops back to pass and floats this one up, and it's going to be caught by the freshman once again. Can you believe it, man? So all those freshmen that we brought in the offseason already contributing here in a major way. Can you believe it? It's great to see. It's great to see. So it's nice to see that we can attack both sides of the field now that we have somebody else on the other side of Nicholas Bullard, having an actual receiving threat. We might have a receiving core that might actually threaten here in the Pac-10 in our first season in Power 6 play. We might actually have something to threaten here. But Syracuse is threatening already now. As it's Clark Huff once again, getting into the end zone or Cedric Huff getting into the end zone after a huge pass from Randall Francis. I mean, it was a simple route here, and we have to see who it was. Maybe we'll see on the replay. play, but just could not make a play on the football here. So Francis, yeah, lays this one out here across the middle of the field, and once again, couldn't quite see it. It was Claude Orr. Claude Orr once again getting burned by Cedric Huff, and hey man, he was a conference All-American. We know. We can very much see it, so 14-10 is now the score, but Syracuse now on offense once again, and it's another pass across the middle, and Jonathan Weiss is going to be injured on the play. Jonathan Weiss, one of our better linebackers on the team here, or actually, yeah, Jonathan Weiss, one of just the better defensive players on the team. But on the next play here, that ball's going to get batted around, and somehow it's going to get intercepted, man. Warren Gross, an amazingly athletic play. I can't believe he managed to do that. And I got confused because John Weiss is one of our DBs. He's like the third or fourth on the depth chart. And then we also have Zach Weiss, who's also on the team, who's one of our best linebackers. So got the Weiss brothers mixed up. So, but we have an opportunity on offense now deep in our own end. But on a 3rd and 9, Syracuse trying to get the ball back, and they're going to get it back as we can't connect with a pass across the middle. So we're going to have to punt this one to Syracuse and give them probably pretty decent field position because of how far back we've been pushed. So 3rd and 6 now we're going to fast forward to in Vandal territory, and Francis gets rid of it quickly here, and he finds an open receiver, but I think both of those feet came down out of bounds. So 4th and 6 coming up for the Orange, and now Francis drops back, floats a deep shot up, and it's going to be caught from Cedric Huff. Again, I keep wanting to call him Clark Huff. I think it's an actual person. Is it an actual celebrity? Am I correct? But either way, Cedric Huff is able to make Claude Orr look like an absolute idiot once again. And Syracuse is going to get another nice deep passing touchdown. So we found a team that can pass pretty efficiently, just like we've been able to pass somewhat efficiently in this game. And we might be in for some trouble here as we now find ourselves down by 3 points with a minute left in the half. What we're going to try and move fast here is Norwood flips one across the middle, and it's going to be caught inside the 40 here as it's Nicholas Bullard who hauls it in. Now we're going to go with the hurry up here as time is trickling down to about 54 seconds. The ball is going to be set now. Clock's going to run. 1st and 10. Norwood's going to go for a pass again. Rolls out to his right, throws it across the middle, and I believe it's Nicholas Bullard once again who he hit for another first down. So we're going to move quickly once again here. Got to set the chains, and the clock's going to stop for that as the ref is taking a sweet time to spot the ball. Norwood quick with the snap and flips it out to the left side. And it's Byron Hubbard, the tight end, who's unable to get his hands around the ball here. That was a decent pass, but it was contested, but still had a chance to catch it. So 2nd and 10 for the Vandals. Norwood drops back, looks deep now, takes a shot to the end zone. It's going to be caught, and somehow they're going to say that's in, man. I think it was Connor McNeil. They're going to say he had a foot in bounds for the touchdown. I'm not sure if that was if he was in bounds. Now, we've seen this before, man. The hit boxes or whatever the end zones are weird. They're tricky. Look at that. Yeah, I don't think he had a foot down, but there's no booth reviews or no challenges, so we're just going to take that score, man. So 21-17 is the score now in this game, and Syracuse is going to try and make something happen here late in the half as their quarterback can also run. We haven't seen him run in this game, but Randall Francis is definitely more than capable of running the football here. He's a freshman. He's more than capable. So 3rd and 10 now for Syracuse. Francis rolling out here, takes a shot towards the end zone, and that ball's going to be batted around by a few different Vandals before it hits the turf. And for some reason, Lavelle Anderson, the receiver on that pass, was saying it was his fault, but it really wasn't. It was a terrible pass from Francis. So on a 4th down now, Syracuse is going to keep the offense on the field, try and go for it. They can't kick a field goal, and Francis is going to bail out on the play and try and run for it, which is a terrible, terrible mental mistake from Randall Ferris, excuse me. Because that's one of those types of plays where the ball's got to get out. You got to get the ball towards the end zone or something. You can't run that. You got to throw for it. You cannot hold on to the football. So the second quarter comes to a close, and we are currently up by 4 points over Syracuse. So we have a nice little lead here, but we're going to need to pad it if we can. Now on offense here in the second half, Norwood flips one down the sideline. I think it's Connor McNeil again. So Connor McNeil moving up in the depth chart here, getting a little bit of usage, a little bit more usage than we're maybe typically used to. We've seen Nicholas Bullard around here, and of course our new freshman receivers contributing in a bit of a minor way, a bit of a major way, but Conrad McNeil is really kind of leaving a stamp on this game early here in Syracuse. So 1st and 10 now in the Orange territory. And Matt Norwood flips one up here down the sideline, and it's going to be caught for another beautiful catch along the sideline to get us inside the 10-yard line. And we're going to be knocking on the front door once again, and here he is, man. Nicholas Bullard getting involved once again. We were just talking about his contribution, and there's another huge one. That's along those streaks, along the sidelines, what we're typically used to seeing him do. And now on the ground here, we finally get Keith Bridges, who's going to get called in here. Keith Bridges is called in. That's gross. They really didn't think about like the hitbox, not hitbox, but you know what I mean, like the actual orange mascot costumes. Those arms like awkwardly fit. It's weird. They didn't think about that when they mocapped it. I'm sure. But 28-17 is now the score. Syracuse gonna have to punt the ball back to us here on their next drive, and we got a little bit of a chance here along the sidelines. A huge pickup on the ground, and there it's our freshman again. Looky there, man. He is just everywhere. He can do quite a bit here. He's got the wheels. He's got the speed, man. I'm so happy to have a lot of 4-star recruits around the roster now these days. So, but Matt Norwood tries to take a shot towards the end zone to get a touchdown at least off of that amazing punt return, but we're not going to get it. So bring out the kicking unit here. Norman Mays going to try and nail this one through, and he does. So now the score is going to be 31-17. We're going to take a 14-point lead over Syracuse in their own house, as their offense has been stagnant here in the third quarter. But on a 3rd and 4, they have a chance. And Ferris is now going to keep it himself. Nice spin move. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. He got thrown off. I think that was a linebacker, too. I don't even think that was a DB. Randall Ferris has some size to him. We've seen how big of a quarterback he is. This dude's got some size, but he just threw off some defenders there and spun out. He was too agile and too strong for his own good. I think he's going to be a special prospect for Syracuse, man. I'm not sure if I want to play him next year. I can't even think. I don't even want to imagine how high he's going to be overall-wise. He's at 76 right now, and I can't imagine where he's going to be after a full season at the helm here. So Syracuse trying to run forward on 3rd down. It's not going to work, so they're going to keep the offense down for 4th down. This is like the 5th 4th down they went for in this game. And finally, we see a nice little athletic play here from our DBs here. I didn't see who it was. I think it was a safety who maybe got a hand on it. But either way, the pass is broken up, and so Syracuse is going to turn over on downs. Now we're back on offense. 2nd and 7. Norwood hit as he throws, unloads it, but it is still going to be caught by Nicholas Bullard for another 1st down. That's going to get us across the 50 here, and so we're going to be working now in orange territory. So cut to a 3rd and 9, and Syracuse desperate to get the football back here as they got to climb out of this deficit. But Norwood lays it across the middle, and it's another completion, I think, for Nicholas Bullard again, and it is. Good Lord. He is just everywhere, man. Already over 100 yards on the day. That's why we love to have him. So, moving again, Norwood going to try and run for it himself here, going to break off a tackle, and a generous tackle animation is going to stumble him into the end zone, and so Matt Norwood's going to pick up a rushing touchdown in this game. Looky there. And Matt Norwood's doing everything he can, man. Do we actually have a team that's, like, low-key good? Like, are we low-key actually pretty good? And is it even low-key? Is it high-key good? Are we actually high-key good? I'm not sure. Nothing else would happen in the 4th quarter here in the last, like, 3 or 4 minutes, so the score would remain at 38-17, and we take a pretty big can, of whooping, a big whooping can against Syracuse's behinds as we stumble into the Big East territory and actually absolutely have our way with the Syracuse Orange. Or Orange Men, as I think the game tries to call them. But really big performances from a lot of familiar faces, including a new face or two, which we are going to see as well. But, yeah, a very, very impressive game. So looking at the breakdown here, I mean, when you look at it statistically, Syracuse was absolutely hanging with us, man. Their rushing production, we didn't show any running plays for Syracuse. I don't remember them running the football all that effectively, so I have no idea where all those rushing yards came from. I knew they threw the ball terribly. That was a huge thing for them. Their quarterback had a terrible game. They had 6 4th down attempts, man. 6 of them. They converted 2, so I'll give them credit, but 6 attempts is absolutely bonkers. That is pretty wild. You're not going to win a lot of games when you're going for a 4th down 6 times. I mean, just, being honest about it. So Matt Norwood, decent passing wise. He had 267 yards and 3 touchdowns, so I can't be super mad about that, but the completion percentage is a little bit lower than I would like. He takes a lot of attempts, doesn't get a lot of completions. That's kind of typical, but he is the leading rusher on the team with 88 yards and a touchdown. Even Keith Bridges, after his quarter suspension, didn't really get involved and do much of anything. So Nicholas Bullard here leading the charge, and then Roderick Williams, our freshman, was getting a little bit of touches here throughout the game here, and we're happy to see that. We're happy to see him contribute early, and then Norman Mays a little bit of work on the field goal. So we're going to move ahead now into our next game of the season, Boise State. I've been showing a lot of out-of-conference games in the Idaho series, and we're probably going to continue to do that. I might send the New Mexico game, because that might not be super important, but our rivalry game is important because we have to keep winning this game to keep our jobs here in Idaho, and we're finally ranked in the top 25 after that win against Syracuse, so the nation is looking at us. We have some optimism here, so hope to see you guys back in Moscow when we open against Boise State.